So I'm Luís Santo. I'm head of radio at NOS. NOS is a mobile operator, fixed mobile and entertainment operator in Portugal. We do have also operation in Africa, in Angola, but mainly our operation is within here, the Portuguese space. My talk will be mainly on 3 points. The first one will be on what are the OpenRAN must-haves for an operator like us, clearly a tier 2 within the European space. So what do we envisage as the requirements to have an OpenRAN, having in mind that, like most of the European operators, we spent some millions, some thousands of millions in 5G very recently, not necessarily in OpenRAN, but clearly looking at the next transition that will happen, probably even before 6G, but where OpenRAN will take place and will clearly take, I would say, would need to be taken care very seriously. Then the second point will be opportunities and challenges. So trying to break the value chain of OpenRAN, what's there for an operator, what's there for a manufacturer, what's there for the ecosystem, and how to tackle that, and how to really start seeing the changes in the organization to better welcome and to fully explore the value of OpenRAN. And finally, just a transition path, which is our own transition path design. So it's just for reference, but probably it will be similar to most of the transitions path that will be seen in smaller operators. So in some words, NOS, again, we're small. I mean, we're having less than 2 billion per year. We're just less than 2,000 employees, so really a small operator. Now covering more than 95% of 5G in Portugal, starting in November 21. So we've been working quite actively in these last years, but with very good results. So we've taken this change in 5G to really change the market, and now we're leading within our turf. So we're leading in Portugal for the experience. It's not we saying, it's Open Signal, it's Ookla saying it for the last 24 months, and also other benchmark companies. And very recently we've got this award, which really is, let us very proud, which is the fastest European operator for Q2 and Q3, ahead of Telenor and others. So I will take this. I have this printed on my room. I think this is the only print that I will have from this journey, which was really amazing on these last 3 years. But then let's jump on OpenRAN, which brings us here today. Stefan just drew a very good drawing of what is happening. OpenRAN is growing, and it's growing mainly because we need to do things differently. Clearly, there's the need to have a higher vendor diversity, clearly, in this market, and that need is seen by all the stakeholders in this business. But more than that, OpenRAN makes sense because it starts in a phase where cloud-native, web-scale, edge start appearing, and all these things starts to make sense. The existence of telco clouds, more capillary data centers, will open the way to OpenRAN implementation in real life. But moreover, openness is in the order of the day. Open networks, open protocols, open interfaces in the order of the day, and clearly, OpenRAN is just guaranteeing that across the end-to-end communication suite, it will happen. And clearly, we believe that 6G and even LTE IEEE is building the future networks over the same concepts, the same paradox that OpenRAN has opened. The last point, last but not the least, it started with big greenfields, and we have India here just showing that OpenRAN is at scale is already existing. But in most European countries, it will be a brownfield approach. So we will be needing to change what we have today for this OpenRAN. But clearly the point is that technology is there. And so probably what we will need is to tackle some points. Well, must-haves for NOS are 6. The first one is, you might say it's a very stupid one, but it's support of 2G. Within Portugal, each time you do a payment, guess, it's been done over edge 2G. It's strange, but there's a lot of IoT and machine-to-machine still running over 2G. So if I decided tomorrow to change my macro network to OpenRAN architecture, I would need to have 2G. or a kind of an hybrid, which was a 2G legacy plus OpenRAN 4G, 5G, probably will not take all the credits and benefits of OpenRAN. That's point number one. We believe that 2G is really incremental in the sense of being easy to add on to OpenRAN architectures. Currently, I would say that only 4 and 5 technologies, 4 and 5G, are ready for OpenRAN. Then performance and security on pair. I think here the hot topic is really massive MIMO and 3.5 performance within OpenRAN. It's still open. There's a lot of noise. Do you need accelerators to perform? It's performing on pair, not performing on pair. To be honest, I will hope for Andrea's talk with interoperability testing just to have more insights for us. But it's still a chance. And for operators like ourselves that invested a lot of money in 3.5 spectrum, we want really to take out all that value. But security, we believe that this is just a requisite, and it will happen naturally on the work groups that are now designing security under the OpenRAN standard. And we're supporting similar flexibility and performance. All of us in Europe and in the US already sold our towers. And that means that we can have simple radios, but that will cost us more money than we have today. So there needs to have the aggregations at the radio level that we have today, which is, for example, in Europe, 700, 800, and 900 in one box will exist. And now it's pretty much the standard of the market to have 1800, 2100, and 2600, again, on the second box. And each time we go to the tower co and say, just one more radio, the guy, just one more, 1 million euros. No. So we don't dance. So in fact, the simplicity of one band needs to be taken to another level. We will need to replace the level of aggregation in bands that we have today. Otherwise, TowerCo's infrastructure costs will really eat the benefits that we'll take from the radio. Okay, I think this is pretty much straight. Then the complexity of it, but that's part of the game. I mean, lower complexity and interoperability ecosystem, end-to-end solutions are required for a faster adoption. This meaning that smaller operators like ourselves probably will not have the resources to test all the combinations that would make sense, and that's why I14, YLabs, and other initiatives like those are needed really to fasten the ecosystem and to help small operators that are not able to really to test all the combinations that make sense. So clearly, it's part of the ecosystem. We see labs as an ecosystem part really relevant to generate value. Then OPEX and energy consumption. It's hot. It was during this morning we talked about energy, about sustainability, and we cannot have a radio unit consuming more energy than we had before. By all means, we should have, in fact, a reduction by using AI, ML, and other kind of advanced radio resource management features that will enable us to shut down radios or PAs when not in use. So this is pretty much understanding that at the energy level, we will need to be on pair, but clearly with the ambition to go beyond. But more than energy, then all the operation with CI/CD and DevOps and other ways of working will implicitly increase OPEX. And in the end, I have an engineering degree, but also a management degree, meaning that in the end, all the TCO will need to solve that out. We are expecting to have more OPEX, clearly less CAPEX, but in the end, when you sum everything, TCO must shine, otherwise there will be no dance. Now going on opportunities and challenges, and those are pretty much standard. Disaggregation level, the ability, and I just brought two examples from Portugal for you to understand where we're trying to get with CU and DU pooling gains. But disaggregation, in fact, brings flexibility, but especially what we expect, some pooling gains. So the ability to answer to capacity needs in a dynamic way, so given in another way. The virtualization and distributed architecture, I've just touched upon the correlation between OpenRAN and edge kind of servers, 5G standalone UPF. So all these names means this is with the telco clouds. And those telco clouds are expected to bring different workloads. OpenRAN will be just one more workload there. Then in intelligence and automation. Currently, we're paying a lot of money to an E just to have features under OSS. OpenRAN just open a lot of northbound and southbound interfaces to the SMO, meaning that we can have access, much more easy access to metrics, and really to develop our own machine learning algorithms over that information. Then clearly, we have the expectation of having faster creation of services, so going beyond the system itself, the ability to design and build new services, namely, for example, low latency service, where we can really co-locate the edge servers with radio, but especially private kind of networks, which today might be expensive, using, again, what the hardware kits that we are using. OpenRAN will open that market. And last but not the least, we believe that OpenRAN framework will be the framework for 6G, or big part of it will happen in 6G. So here's the example. And this is the example of the Lisbon metropolitan, for those who haven't landed 2 hours ago, just near the map. And on the red spots, we have the user density. And for these pooling gains to make sense, we will need 3 things. Well, user density, we'll need to have also people using the network in different slots, and that's the picture in the middle, which shows the different busy hours within the area. And last but not the least, a lot of fiber, just to connect all the radios to the data center for this to make sense and to have all this centralized pooling gain. And we see that the Lisbon area is pretty much an area where we can extract the value. But if you're fed up of Lisbon, you can grab a car and in 3 hours you'll be in Porto and taste very good wine. I'm just now on the touristic part of Portugal. But you can have fun and also see that also the metropolitan areas are really strong candidates for the pooling gains, having in mind these 3 requirements. Again, having a very huge high density, different busy hours for them to complement themselves, and a lot of fiber for this to make sense. But there's no pleasure without pain, or in other words, the lemons, here they come. So the lemons on OpenRAN, the challenges that we've just drafted in our strategy. The first one is really at the CAPEX level, and this is a serious discussion. When now we look at an E, which can grab all the needs from all the operators, they really operate at scale. And when we start saying, okay, no, it's OpenRAN is very good because we can have a lot of manufacturers and vendors like JBuild. The point is then when we start fragmenting, economies of scale start to challenge the benefits that we want to take care of. So there's clearly a minimum or a critical level where we need to get in terms of volume. Otherwise, OpenRAN will not happen. And I think this is really serious, and that would be my main point on CAPEX. On OPEX, it's really a challenge. Clearly, the change of paradigm and the need for validation and the integration and the changes in smaller operators like ourselves needs to be tackled in the sense of transforming people that today are not used to this kind of technologies, and so to have a transformational work on those competences along the path. Then interoperability, we've just talked about interoperability is really one strong issue. We have, again, Y14Y Labs that is an answer for those needs at the central level, but also other enterprises which are now being dedicated to be, I would say, integrators in this world, and that will solve that problem. Performance, I think it will be solved with time. There's only questions on these 3.5 hardware acceleration and how to do it, but in the end, it will happen. I'm sure that I think the pros clearly are higher or provide bigger value than these cons. And just to finalize, how do we see this running? Clearly, we're having fun in our test bed, so it's a kind of a Lego box that we've bought and leave the boys play. Really, it's a space where more than testing OpenRAN, we're testing the integration with incumbent, because we believe that we will be on a kind of a brownfield scenario, and starting looking at small cells as probably small cells, indoor and private networks as the entry applications in our case. Later on, rural and low density macro will happen, and we are within one European project, IAD project for OpenRAN in rural coverage. So we expect to use that project to validate the concept and really to change the technology, but especially change people that work in the organization. And I would say that's all, and thank you for your attention. And for any question, feel free. Thank you.